At the beginning of class, I'm going to tell you to tent your legs, T-E-N-T. So I don't want any props under your knees. Tenting is where you just, the knees are touching and the feet are wide. That's tenting the legs. Knees touch, feet wide. That's where we're starting this morning. You can have a blanket. You can still cover up with a blanket. You can weight your belly. Remember, if you want to bring music into your class, you may do that. So when we tent the legs, the feet are far enough apart, the knees are bent, and the feet are far enough apart so that the knees really just fall towards each other. You're not, if your feet are too close and you do it, you're going to create tension in your legs. So you're going to be on your back. My feet they're not touching the edges of my yoga mat, but they're pretty wide. And then the knees are just falling into touch. My arms are out to a T shape. My palms are up. And now roll your head side to side a few times. Allow your head to come back to center. Maybe sliding your shoulder blades towards each other or down the back. I would like you to become aware of the thigh bones. From your knees down into the sockets of the hips. If the angle of tenting the legs hurts your knees or ankles, you may just simply release the pose or explore readjusting. Notice the space across your low back, between your hips. Relax your buttocks. Feel your low back release. Notice if there's space between your spine, your back, and the ground. And now very slowly extend one leg at a time down onto the mat. Extend your legs all the way down. Let your feet come close together. And I want you to sense what happened in your low back. For some of you, the arch of the low back will be subtle. For others, it will be deep, more obvious. Keep your left leg long. Bend your right knee and drop your right knee into tree pose. That's where you bring the foot to the inside of the leg and let the knee drop out to the side. So my left leg is long. My right foot came to the inside. It could be at the knee, below the knee, above the knee. Maybe pull the toes of the left foot towards you and really lengthen through your left leg. And now allow the left leg to relax. We're going to reach our arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to see what it feels like to lace the fingers together, index fingers up, and lower the arms over the head. If clasping the hands and lowering the arms is too intense, let go and try either holding around your wrist with one hand or even what we call cactus arms, letting the arms be wide with the elbows bent. Begin to notice all of the sensations occurring in the pose. Maybe sensing this straight line on the left side. The way your body tilts to the right. Three more breaths here. Can you deepen your breathing? When you take that deeper breath, notice the sensation of the stretch in the left armpit, left shoulder, right armpit, right shoulder. Keep your arms just as they are as you lift your right knee back up to the ceiling and send your right leg all the way down beside your left leg. Pull the toes toward you, press through your heels, stretch through your elbows and arms. Lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Bend both knees, feet on the ground, and hug both knees in and hold. Hold on to your left knee. Send the right leg all the way down. And now you know where we're going, but can you go there slowly? Let's not rush. Let's slow down. Drop your left foot to the floor with the knee bent. Let the left knee fall out to the side. Open the arms wide like a T. Can you remember how this felt on the other side? Try to sense the horizon stretching around you. The ground beneath you. That vast sky above you. Start to bend your elbows, tucking the fingers behind your head or near your head, maybe lacing those fingers back there. You may stay here with those hands behind your head, elbows wide. Or you may go to box arms where you hook your hands to your elbows and let the arms begin to fall over your head. Sense how lowering the arms to the ground, but out by your head or above your head, creates a stretch down through the sides of your body, through the armpits. Help your body to stretch a little bit more by taking deeper breath. Expand your lungs completely on your inhale. Completely empty on your exhale. Slowly lift your left knee. Send the left leg down beside the right leg. Pull the toes towards you. Open up your arms, either for a Y shape or straight out by your ears. Feel the arch of your low back. Maybe even exaggerate that arch, kind of popping up through the rib cage. And now start to bend the knees, press the low back into the ground. Use your abdominal muscles, contract the abs, press into the ground, and hug. Lift your arms up, hug both knees in. You might need props for spinal twist. If you don't have them within reach, you might want to pull them in. The arms are going out wide, and the knees are falling to the right. The bottom leg, the right leg, is completely relaxed. I like to line up my right wrist bone with my right kneecap on the ground. Everything's on the ground when I do that. Wrist bone, kneecap, my feet are relaxed. I don't care if they crisscross or stack the feet. If there's achiness, I slide a block or blanket between my knees. If you have a blanket nearby, you can weight down your hip. Once you have settled in and your lower body feels supported, the lower body's able to relax, you can explore the neck, maybe rolling your head slowly. As you roll your head slowly towards the left, maybe you'll notice a sensation come down through your spine. Maybe that movement of the neck feels good. Look for tension across your shoulders, your chest. Let there be a heaviness. As if you could feel the weight of your own body on the ground. I'll stay for about 5 more breaths, but you're always welcome to come out of your pose when you're ready. Your head comes back to center. It's up to you whether both knees lift or one knee at a time. We're coming to center and we're going to place our feet on the ground with the knees bent for bridge, a flowing bridge. My arms are going to press in along the sides of my body, palms down. Heels on the ground, close to my, coming in so that my heels are under my knees. And a flowing bridge is where we lift the hips up towards the ceiling and then roll the spine down. And just flow or hold, whichever feels better to your body. But staying connected to the sensation in your spine. If your hips are lifted, roll them down to the ground. Hug the knees in. Arms go out wide and those knees fall to the left. Probably one of the most important things in this pose is bringing in enough props so that you really are able to relax your legs, your inner thighs, your buttocks. Maybe it's a block between your knees, a blanket. Maybe weight up on the thigh, the weight of a blanket or sandbag up on your leg or hip. Maybe you need to lift up and kind of rock or just scoot your left shoulder over a little bit. Letting that right shoulder come towards the ground. If there's discomfort under the right shoulder, put a blanket there or a pillow. And begin to slowly roll your head side to side. Maybe finding stillness through the head or choosing to continue to roll. But try to relax your shoulders. Your belly and hips. Finding 5 more deep breaths. Turn your head to look to the left. Bring your right arm over to your left arm. Coming on to your side. Lifting yourself up. Coming to hands and knees. For those of you who can drop back into that child's pose with maybe your big toes touching. Those of you who can go to child's pose, go to child's pose. If you can't do child's pose or you just don't want to, begin to flow through cat-cow. And some of you find downward facing dog to be almost a relaxing pose. So you have these 3 options, either down dog, cat-cow, or child's pose. For about 5 more breaths. Everyone coming to seated. Take your time. So I'm going to start the pose out in what I call a very safe way. And then I'm going to take it up to a more deeper version for people who do not have knee restrictions. So the starting pose for all of us is to extend the left leg out, and just like we were on our backs, drop the right foot to the inside of the left leg. This is version 1. It's a safe version. If I have pain in this bent knee, I give it support. I put a prop underneath it. For those who want a deeper version, I take a folded blanket. It's in half. I make this square. One might be enough, or I might need 2. I'll show you what it looks like. Now I have my 2 blankets, and I have a rolled blanket in front of me. If I did not have all these props, I could do the pose with no props. It's called shoelace, it's shoelace in yin. My knees, it's hard to see with my pants, my knees are stacked on top of each other here. This is one knee, this is the other knee down here. If I can't do that on the ground, I can come up on these blankets. I take the right leg, drop it on this blanket, take the left leg over the top. So everybody's going to be different where they are with this. If I didn't have 3 blankets, I could explore using the bolster in place of the blanket. So I'm crossing if I can. The bolster works fine for me. It matches my 2 blankets that I'm sitting on. I'm up tall, my knees are stacked. Or I'm on the ground, left leg long, right foot coming to the inside, either pose. And then I'm folding forward. I'm reaching forward. I can bring props in. I can settle the blocks around my leg. And lean into my blocks. Support my forehead. Or I'm in full shoelace pose, coming forward. Everybody's settling into their pose. Some of you may have gotten into that pose really quick and you feel like you've been there a while. So when that happens, maybe you'll come out of it earlier. As you stay with your pose, you may find you start to relax a little more, and then you feel like you can go deeper, you can lower props. Look for tension in your jaw, your eyes. Slowly come back up if you're forward. Everybody is going to uncross. If you were in shoelace, you're uncrossing. Everybody's legs are wide. Hands come behind you and you lean back. You lift the heart, lift the chin, maybe pull the toes towards you. Maybe lowering your chin towards your chest feels good, or ear to shoulder. Feet come back together to the center. Maybe you're still up on your 2 blankets and you'll stay there to work through the pose. Maybe this side's different and you need to come to the ground. This time my right leg is extended, my left foot coming in. I've switched sides. Whatever that means for you, whichever leg you had out front, switch. Assess, do I need to slide a small pillow or blanket or block underneath this knee? Does it need support? Blocks around the extended leg so I can lean into it or support my forehead. It makes a huge difference in your back. If your back is hurting and you can get your arms to support and your forehead, you can even take a bolster on top of blocks and lean forward. That feels so good if your back is hurting. It lets your back stretch, but without discomfort. For those in shoelace, you're switching sides. And you're either up on blankets or not, whichever way you can do your pose. The knees are stacked in this. The feet are coming out because I've crisscrossed my knees one on top of the other. Same idea with these blocks or bolster. They will allow me to come forward and be supported. Soften around the breath. Soften around the pose. Soften across your shoulders. Connect with the sensation of the stretch. Maybe you'll need to back off or back out of your pose. Or maybe you'll be able to deepen your pose. Soften your hips, your inner thigh, the length of your back. Slowly come up. Moving out of that pose, legs out wide. We're coming into a back bend. You may turn your bolster vertical or horizontal. The horizontal puts the back bend in a different place because your shoulders are coming off the bolster. Remember how we had our legs, we were tenting the legs? You can tent the legs in this pose. If having the bolster horizontal is too deep, the first thing you do is try putting a block under your head. That's the first thing you do. And if that adjustment doesn't help, if it's something still hurting, turn your bolster the other way. Turn it vertical, which will be less pulling. You can still even put the block or a small blanket underneath, small pillow, thin blanket. You can even put that underneath. This propping in this way will take away a lot of if there's pulling in your low back. So you play with it. Which way do you want your bolster? If you don't have a bolster, it could be a blanket. When I don't have a bolster, I don't use a rolled blanket. I use a folded blanket. I take my blanket and fold it to make a bolster. That to me feels better. That long rectangle feels better to me than a roll under my back. So I had you start the pose with tented legs, but you are welcome to send them all the way down or bring the soles of the feet to touch into cobblers. But what I want you to pay attention to is the sensation of your rib cage and chest. Do the 3 different leg positions. Do the tent and notice your rib cage and chest and the sensation in your back. Take about 3 breaths here. Bring the soles of the feet to touch and let the knees open wide, cobblers or butterfly. Hold here. Notice the sensation of the back bend, of the rib cage. And then sending the legs down long. Notice the rib cage, the chest. Can you relax here? Taking whatever leg position is best for you. Can you relax a little bit more? Take 2 more deep breaths. Bending your knees. Roll to your side to push up to seated. We need to counterbalance the pose. Either legs straight, reaching for your toes, or soles of the feet touching, knees wide, rounding forward, allowing your spine to release. So we're only here for 1 minute. Whether you want to actually use the wall for legs up the wall, or you want to take that bolster that's behind you, pull it up to your hip, or using the block We'll come down onto our backs into bridge pose, lifting the hips, sliding the bolster underneath. I encourage you, if you have the wall near you, that you actually go to the wall so that you can truly relax your legs. Maybe even remembering how we used to wrap our legs in the studio with a blanket. As you come to the pose, give yourself time, readjusting your shirt, your hips, maybe readjusting the prop. It should not feel like there's a lot of effort to be here. If you start to feel your legs fatigue, or there's a numbness or something uncomfortable, even if you're at the wall, you can slide your feet down the wall. You can let your thighs fall towards your belly. You could explore the leg position, taking the feet wide. I tell you over and over and over again, this pose really helps your immune system. We're going to stay here, be here in the pose. Imagine that your mind, maybe you'll think of it as your brain. It's like a body of water, like a lake. And imagine it as still and calm. Or imagine this lake as if it were resting in your belly. And go to the depth, to the bottom. Calm. And imagine the weight of a lake in the earth. Anchoring into the earth. In a way, the ocean breathes. Let your body breathe. The rise and fall of water. The in and out of the breath. As we stay here for just one more minute. Maybe beginning to roll out the ankles. Start to bend your knees, hugging them in. If you're at the wall, you'll have to roll to your side. If you're using a bolster and you're away from the wall, lift your hips, removing the block or bolster. Everyone coming back to their mat. If you left your yoga mat or blanket, come back. Your knees are bent. Your hips are on the ground. Relax your whole back. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Left thigh can come towards you if you would want to, pulling it in with your arms. Just 5 breaths here. If your chin started to tuck up, lift up to the ceiling, bring it back down. Maybe roll your head side to side. We'll just simply switch legs, switch sides. Maybe it would feel good to stretch out the right leg and roll out the ankle first. And then switching left ankle, right knee. You could just stay here or lift that right foot up off the ground. Hands reach around. If you're holding your right leg, that means your left arm is between the legs, hugging in that thigh. Let go of tension in your hips. Let those shoulders relax. Right foot to the ground, left leg reaches. circling out. And let's just revisit for just a minute our tented legs flat on our back. Coming back to our beginning, maybe lifting, lowering the hips, knees touch, feet a little bit wide. Arms out wide like a T. Take some deep breaths and feel the sensation of your back. Relax your inner thighs. And now everyone finding if you can stay for relaxation. Finding a pose that will bring you comfort. Maybe something behind your knees. Maybe the weight of a blanket on your belly. I'll give you a moment to settle in. Feel your body on the ground. Notice the points of contact between the body and the floor, back of the head, shoulders, parts of your back coming in contact with the ground. Your hips, buttocks, the inner thighs, the outer thighs. Soften across your pelvic floor, between the hip points. As you relax the legs, notice the parts of the legs that come in contact with the floor. Your calves and heels. Sensing your own legs. Your toes. Your feet. Ankles. Knees. Hips. Becoming aware of your arms. Down to the tips of the fingers. The very tip of the thumbs. Notice the natural bend of the fingers. The palms of the hands. Wrist. Elbows. And all of that tension you carry in your shoulders, in your neck, let it go. Soften through the belly. Around your heart. Your throat. Your mouth. Tongue and lips. Jaw. Can you sense your inner ears? Your forehead. Your scalp. Let the awareness drift back into the breath. Feel the breath moving your body. Begin to deepen the breath. Take a big inhale and feel it stretch the lungs, the chest. Feel the exhale relax your body. Begin to wiggle fingers, toes. Rolling to your side if you would like to, or stretching or moving. And coming up to seated. Hands to our hearts. Wherever you're going next, wherever your day takes you, may you take yoga with you. Namaste.